Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you as we get ever closer to matchday. Arsenal back in action on Thursday night against Crystal Palace at the Emirates. I think we're all looking forward to that. It's just nice to be looking forward to football again, isn't it? I think it felt like forever in that run up to Christmas where you sort of dreaded each match day, dreaded what was to come. But thanks to a nice 4-game winning streak, we can go into that game against Crystal Palace feeling full of optimism and yeah, you kind of fancy an Arsenal win a game. And like I said, in that run up to Christmas, it really didn't feel like that. So looking forward to that, I will be at the Emirates. I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos, actually, that I was due to have a knee operation that was going to put me out of the game for a couple of weeks. And I was going to have to take a couple of weeks off. Palace was going to be my last match. And I was basically going to be off till the end of the transfer window. But because of COVID and everything, I've just found out yesterday that operation has now been cancelled for the foreseeable future. So I'm going to be limping around for a few months yet. But I am going to be at work, which means I won't be off for the final couple of weeks at the transfer window, which is kind of handy. Certainly handy for my work and for my boss. Not quite so handy for my knee, but what are you going to do? So I will be around. I won't be disappearing for a couple of weeks after the Palace game. So you will have me reporting on the final weeks of the transfer window. Right, let's talk about some Arsenal news, shall we? What's been going on in the last day or so? We'll start with the good news about Gabriel Martinelli that came out yesterday, that he has not suffered as bad as injury as Arsenal first feared. Obviously, we saw him go down in the warm-up ahead of the Newcastle match. I think we all feared the worst, that it could be, a long-term thing for Gabby. There could be ligament damage in that ankle, but that has not been the case. Scan results have come back good. Martinelli's improving all the time. He's responded well to early treatment, and he could well be back for Monday night's game against Newcastle. So only missing Thursday's match against Crystal Palace, and that is certainly the best case scenario for Arsenal, because I think we all thought when he went down that we might be without Gabriel Martinelli for a long time. Such was the look on his face, such was a concern of his teammates. But good news, the scan result has come back well, and Arsenal are hopeful that Gabriel Martinelli could even play in the match against Newcastle on Monday night. It's a big boost for Arsenal, big boost for Mikel Arteta, and most importantly, big boost for Gabriel Martinelli. He will miss Thursday night's game against Crystal Palace. That one's certainly going to come too soon for him. But again, there's even more good fitness news, injury news ahead of that game on Thursday night, and that is that Gabriel is available. He has been passed fully fit now and passed all the necessary protocols after his COVID test, his positive COVID test, which meant he missed 3 or 4 games. I think he's missed now, but he has been given a green light now to come back fully mixed with everyone, and he will be available for the game against Palace. Thomas Partey, I think, will certainly be available as well. He's going to be assessed again by Arsenal, but he's had a good 4 weeks training this week. He was fully training last week. I know Arsenal being careful with him, but I think they'll certainly throw him back in on Thursday night. I'll be very surprised if Partey doesn't make it for this one, barring any late complications. But as it stands, he's fully fit. He's been training all week. Been absolutely no trouble with that thigh injury, and he is ready to go. So you're looking at a very, very strong Arsenal squad for that. And when you consider the amount of matches that Arsenal played recently this season, when you look at their injury list at the moment, it is very, very small, and that is a massive. You've got to give credit to the medical staff, who I know have got an awful lot of grief at times over the last few years at Arsenal, but you've got to give a lot of credit because they are managing things very, very well. And Mikel Arteta as well, he certainly seems to be managing the squad and the workload very, very well. So when you're going into this game, you think after Christmas into the new year, and you've basically only got one player injured, one big player injured, that is you're doing a decent job in managing the squad. So fair play to Arsenal for that, and they're going to have a very strong squad available for that match against Crystal Palace. Interesting one when it comes to that match, and potentially not that match just because Gabriel has not been training, for a couple of weeks. He's only just come back, so I wouldn't be surprised if he starts on the bench, for example. But looking further ahead to that, when you go to Newcastle, Mikel's going to have a difficult choice to make when it comes to the centre-backs. I don't know what you guys think about this. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think. But, who starts in at centre-back? Because I think the back four is certainly the way he's going to go now. He's settled back on that. We had the back three for a while. But Mikel's always wanted to go to the back four. And now he's doing that. He's been successful in that. He's getting wins. And Thomas Partey is going to come back into that central midfield as well, which is only going to help with playing a back four because it's going to provide even more protection to the defence. But who plays as a left-sided centre-back? I mean, Gabriel's been absolutely fantastic since he's come in. Just one player of the season, player of the month, 3 months in a row. But Pablo Mari has stepped up and been absolutely exceptional, I think, and he's getting better every single game. So who plays as a left-sided centre-back? Can you play both of those two as a pair? And, I know Rob Holding's been playing as a right-sided centre-back. We'll talk about Rob Holding later. He's just signed his new contract, rich reward for his decent performances. So it's a really big decision for Mikel to make now when it comes to centre-back going forward. What do you do? Can you really play two left-sided centre-backs in a pair? I don't think you can. So I think it's either one or the other in Mari or Gabriel. You would think it would be Gabriel just because of obviously the money Arsenal invested in him, but Pablo Mari has not put a foot wrong really since he's come into the side, and he's getting better with each game, which is even more promising signs. So it's going to leave Mikel with a difficult situation, difficult decision to make when it comes to the centre backs. It's a good decision to make. Every manager wants to be in that position, but I think just a few weeks ago, everyone was sort of looking at Arsenal's centre backs options and thinking they're looking pretty weak and. Mikel was struggling, but suddenly the emergence of Mari and certainly the return to form of Rob Holding as well, who I think has been very, very good alongside Mari, and Luiz coming back as well now. Arsenal looking very strong in that centre-back position. So it's going to be really interesting, I think, what Mikel is going to do going forward with that centre-back positions. Like I said, let me know what you think, because I'll be really interested to see what you think for the long term in terms of who plays where in that back four for Arsenal. But like I said, I think the Palace game on Thursday is probably going to come too soon for Gabriel. They might ease him back into action. He'll probably be on the bench, and it will still be Mari and Rob Holding starting as a central defensive pair. But going forward, not quite sure what Mikel's going to do with that. It'll be interesting to watch. Wanted to talk a little bit about Matteo Guendouzi. I've been getting a lot of questions about him, certainly on social media, on Twitter, a few of you in the comments as well, saying, what's going to happen to Matteo. There have been rumours doing the rounds that he might come back in January, that Arsenal are exploring that option. He's obviously been doing pretty well over in Germany since he's got into the Hertha Berlin side. Scored a couple of goals even, which didn't really get at Arsenal. But I don't think you're going to be seeing Matteo come back in January for those who've been asking. I think he'll stick out the season in Germany, and probably rightly so. I mean, he's not going to come back in. You think Thomas Partey's just arriving, just getting fully fit now. He's going to come into the central midfield option. Matteo's playing regularly over in Germany. I'm not sure that would be the case if he came back to England. So it doesn't really make any sense for Arsenal to look to recall him. So I don't think that's going to be happening. We all know the situation with Matteo and Mikel as well. I don't think that's gone away. It's something that's going to have to be resolved one way or the other in the summer. But in terms of him coming back this month and seeing out the remainder of the season at Arsenal, I don't think so. I think he's certainly going to stay in Germany, where they are very, very happy with him. Hertha Berlin really pleased with that little bit of business, and so they should be, because he's a very, very good player. And it's just a bit unfortunate how things have gone for him and the sort of fallout he's had with Mikel and with the hierarchy. That contributed to his lack of game time, really, because we all know he's a decent player and he's a hell of a prospect. But for those who have been asking, is he going to come back? Are Arsenal going to call him back? I don't think so. I'd be very, very surprised if that's a bit of business that they do this month. Got to talk about Mesut Ozil, because it's Mesut Ozil and it's January and the transfer continues to rumble on. Will he or won't he? In terms of what I understand, it still hasn't moved on particularly much in terms of actual fully official discussions with Arsenal in terms of Fenerbahce or anyone else, DC United, but certainly discussions are very much ongoing with Ozil's agent and Fenerbahce to see what they can do. And Arsenal, as I've said before, are very, very willing to play their part in getting this deal across the line this month, because they desperately want Mesut to go. Now, Mesut's agent was speaking about it again yesterday. Sogat, he said Mesut only lacks match fitness. There is no training lacking. Mesut is fit now. Everyone knows that Mesut is from Fenerbahce. He announced it yesterday. He's talking about the Q&A, which I'm sure you saw. Mesut is not just a football player. Mesut is Fenerbahce. He always said that if he came to Turkey, he would only play for Fenerbahce. I think it's very important that Mesut comes not only as a footballer, but also as a lover of Fenerbahce. There is a process at the moment. We can't say it's over until we've signed it in the process. I hope so. So that's very strong words from Ozil's agent there. They are working on getting this deal done. They know Arsenal are willing to get this deal done. They know Fenerbahce, if they can, are willing to get this deal done. It will need help from Arsenal, probably certainly for the first 6 months to get it done. And Arsenal then have to agree stuff with Mesut as well. So there's a lot of different things that need to get sorted out in the next couple of weeks for Mesut Ozil to leave Arsenal this month. But it is, as I've said, it's certainly closer than it has ever been before. And before this window started, I didn't think there was a chance that Mesut would leave Arsenal. I thought he'd stick out his contract because that's always what his agent, always what he said. But you can tell just from these comments that his agent is making now and previous comments that he's made in the last week or so, that for the first time they are really exploring the option of getting Mesut Ozil out this month, and it is looking like it could well happen. Seemingly to Fenerbahce, the team that he absolutely loves, the team he's grew up supporting as a boy. He talked about it in the Q&A that I'm sure you all saw last night as well. So they're getting very, very close now to getting this deal done for Mesut Ozil, and it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks to see if Fenerbahce, Ozil's agent and Arsenal can come together and get this one over the line. If they can, it's going to be good for all parties. It's going to be good for Mesut, it's going to be good for Fenerbahce, and my God, it's going to be good for Arsenal, because it's going to just bring an end to this saga that has dragged on. And I know loads of you are Mesut Ozil fans, and you want to see him play, you want to see him get his big send-off, but that's not going to happen. And so it may as well come to an end and just get this sorry saga out of the way so everyone can move on and move forward. The news that came out from Arsenal yesterday, big sort of breaking news, was that Rob Holding has signed that new contract. The confirmation finally came. We kind of knew about it before. David Ornstein over The Athletic broke it earlier in the week that deal had been done. Mikel hinted that it had been done in his press conference on Monday morning, and then confirmation obviously came yesterday that it had come through. It's to 2024 with an option of a further year. I think it's a fine deal for Arsenal. I think it's one they should have done. Rob Holding's only 25. He's only going to get better and better. I know there's been a fair bit of criticism for Holding, which I think is fairly unfair. Yes, he's had some disappointing performances, certainly at the start of this season, but you've got to think he's coming back from a really long injury. It takes a long time to recover from a cruciate knee injury. You're talking a year and a half before you can get back to your best. And the form Rob Holding has shown recently, certainly alongside Pablo Mari, has been really, really positive. And he's only 25. He's homegrown, English. That ticks a lot of boxes when it comes to building a squad. You need those players in your squad, and Arsenal haven't got many of them as it is, so I think it's an absolute no-brainer to get this one signed up, to get him signed up. Is he going to be a regular starter in the next 1-2 years or so? Perhaps not. I know a lot of people want William Saliba to come back and be this generational talent that a lot of you think he is. Clearly he hasn't shown Arsenal that because he's not been in the team, but Rob Holding has been, and he's been performing, and he's performing well, and I think he deserves his new contract. I think Arsenal are right to protect their value in him in doing it. And as some of the comments said, like Edu here says, we are happy to have signed Rob on a new contract. He's 25 years old, so he's still coming into the peak of his career, and we're delighted that he'll be with us during those important years. And that's an important thing. He's only going to get better. He's 25. Centre-backs get better when they're until the 30s, and Rob's just going to continue to improve because he's a decent player. He's shown how decent a player he is. He's come from Bolton, settled in at Arsenal so well. The injury really hampered him, but he's beginning to get back to his best, and I think it's a fine deal for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta's delighted. Since I've been a manager, I've been hugely impressed with Rob's contribution to the club and to the dressing room, on and off the pitch. The quality of work every day on the training pitches is excellent, and he is translating his consistently high performance in matches. We all know Rob's quality, which he has shown in his displays during the intense moments of those 2 FA Cup final victories. We are all very happy that Rob has signed a new contract. He's popular with players and staff, and we are looking forward to watching him continue to grow in the coming years. So Mikel Arteta, understandably delighted. He rates Rob Holding, no doubt about it. He's given him the captain's armband this season, so he always wanted him to stay. He blocked him moving in the summer when there was a chance. Rob was putting the feelers out, wondering if he was going to play much football this year. There was interest from a lot of clubs, certainly from Newcastle. Mikel blocked that move, and you can see why now, because he's been playing him a lot, and Rob's benefited from it, and he's certainly benefited from it because he's just got himself a nice, fat, juicy contract. Right, that's about it from today's video. Thank you very much for watching, as always, everyone. Like I said, Arsenal back in action tomorrow night at the Emirates. I will be at the game if I can find the time to do a video beforehand, looking more into detail at that match, and any other news that happens between now and then I will. But if not, I will be doing my usual live broadcast before the game, giving you a reaction to the team news and giving you an opportunity to watch the warm-up. So look out for that one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.